you already know that in our last class we have already started our new topic, that is your non-access modifier. So now you are already, I hope that all of you are already comfortable with the access modifier, like all those four access modifiers, and you already know the functionality of final keyword. Like final, we are using with your variable, or either we are using with your methods, or either with if we are using with your class. So what are the functionality of final? So after this lecture, I'm going to upload these slides too. And in today's lecture, we are going to discuss about abstract keyword. Okay, and this is very important because in some of your lab problems, you are basically you have to implement that particular program using interfaces. But but if you don't know the concept of abstract, then I don't think so that you will have a very better clarity about what interfaces are. Okay, so first of all, we are going to start with the concept of abstract class in our today's lecture. So these things which we have already covered. So you can directly tell me if you have any questions related to that. Okay, so let's start with our today's topic, that is your abstraction in Java. So as you already know that in our Java programming language, there are four pillars, or you can say that the main four characteristics of object-oriented programming language, which our Java programming language also supports, which are your encapsulation. Okay, so we have already covered encapsulation whenever we are dealing with your private members, how to access that thing using getter or setter method. Second one is your polymorphism. For polymorphism, we are achieving either with the help of your method overriding or your method overloading. Okay, having the same name but different functionality. And the third one is your inheritance. So you already know that if we want to perform code reusability, so how we can perform code reusability with the help of inheritance. And the fourth pillar of your object-oriented programming languages are your abstraction. And our Java also supports this pillar that is known as your abstraction. So what do you mean by abstraction in Java? So abstraction in Java means that hiding the implementation details and showing only functionality to the user. So you already know that whenever we are going for your ATM machine, okay, whenever you want to withdrawing your cash from that machine, so do we require any functionality and the implementation details, that how they have implemented that part? No, we are not at all required. So that even a layman person, okay, layman person are those person who don't have any idea or having no technical details about that particular your ATM machine, how they have implemented, is basically can access that machine. Okay, so this is the main functionality of abstraction, because if we are adding the functionality of abstraction in our programming language, then we are basically somehow reducing the complexity from our user, right? So like this. So the extent to which a module hides its internet data and other implementation details from other modules is the most important factors that distinguishes a well or designed object-oriented model. So I will advise you to, whenever you are going to work on your projects, okay, so whatever the code you are writing, just try to incorporate these features like your abstraction, inheritance. You just try to figure it out where you can basically incorporate these concepts, so that you will have a lifelonging means understanding about these concepts. Okay, in future if I am going to use it, okay, I have implemented this the concept in my project, so that you will have a better understanding about these topics. Okay, now the next point is it shows only important things, like I have given you one example, and hides the internal details. So this is basically called abstraction. Okay, abstraction is what, where we are basically showing you the important things which is basically required for that particular user, but we are hiding the internal details, right? So let's take one example, and using this example again, you will understand what do you mean by abstraction. Okay, so if somebody is going to ask you in your interview, okay, so you will find a lot of examples like what the majorly students generally tell. Okay, suppose we have a car. This is also a very good example of your abstraction. So you don't know the internal functionality of car. Okay, but you are able to basically drive that particular car. But with respect to, because you belong to a computer science domain, you belong to this domain, so you should give examples with related to this our technology and whatever the thing you have. Okay, so let's take one example, is that suppose you are sending an email. Okay, so you already know that whenever you are sending an email, so you know, like in our computer networks, here are multiple layers, so you don't know any idea about that. So some of you might have, but whenever you are going to come across this subject that is known as your computer networks, that will be in your, I think, third year or in your second, yes, in your fourth semester you have this subject. Okay, then you will have a better understanding about, okay, how you are sending an email, what protocols are required. So here we are not at all concerned about these things. We are just writing our mail and we are just click on that send button and we are just basically forwarding our mail, right? So the user does not know about the complex details, such as what happens just after sending an email, which protocol is used by the server. Like for example, we generally use SMTP protocol. Okay, simple mail transfer protocol for that. So basically these are the protocols which we generally use for these such kind of things, but we are not at all concerned about these things. So if you want to hide the complexity, so what we generally do, we always try to prefer that we should recommend or we should go for what your abstraction in your Java programming language, right? So therefore we need to mention the address of the receiver, and these are the things which we just require. Similarly, if you are sending SMS or if you are sending WhatsApp messages, what you do, you just type the text and send the message, but you don't know the internal processing about message delivery and all those things. For you, you might say that if you are sending a message via WhatsApp or your Facebook Messenger, so somehow you will say, okay, in both the somehow the you can say that the display is different, the application format and whatever the thing that are different among these two applications. But you will say that, okay, in both the case we can send the message, but in internally there will be a lot of difference in their like how they have implemented these two applications, right? So we are hiding those things. So this is known as what we call it as your abstraction. So, but in Java, how we are going to achieve abstraction? So can we achieve it in Java? Yes, we are able to achieve in this. So always remember, again, whatever the thing I'm telling you, these things are very important. Like if somebody is going to ask you about, can we achieve like 100% abstraction if you are using abstract class? So you will say that it depends. Like you can achieve 0% abstraction as well as you can achieve 100% abstraction if you are using abstract class. But whenever we are dealing with your interface, okay, like in your labs, some of the problems you have faced are related to interface, but I will tell you in this lab, in your lectures, I will give you a better understanding about these concept topics, your interface and your abstract class. Okay, so somehow these two things are interrelated to each other like this. So using abstract class, somehow we can achieve partial as well as somehow we can achieve 100% abstraction. But if somebody is going to ask you about, okay, if we are using abstract class, can we achieve every time, can we achieve 100% abstraction? Then in that scenario, you will say that no, sometimes we can, but sometimes we cannot. Okay, because we can achieve 0% abstraction too. So I will give you some examples. Using those examples, you will understand all these things. So abstract classes. So what are the abstract? So you already know that what we have, you know the definition of class. Okay. So class is what? In class, what we have? We have all these data members, objects, and all those things. Right? Now, so class is basically what we call it as your blueprint. Okay, it is a kind of a template. Now we are adding and we are calling a class as what your abstract class. So that definition of class will remain same. Okay, like it is a kind of a template. But after adding abstract, what is happening? Let's go through it. So an abstract class can contain concrete methods that have implementation which result in your partial abstraction. So actually in our abstract class, we have two types of method. Okay. First one is your concrete method and second one is your abstract method. So till now in your labs, whatever the methods which you are basically in working for, like you are creating add method, right? Int add, and you are performing a equals to b plus c like that. So this is known as your concrete method. So a method which is having some implementation details. Okay. So here you are implementing something. You are writing some code, line of code inside this thing, inside that particular method. So these methods are known as your concrete method. So till now, whatever the method you are implementing in your programs are known as your concrete methods. Now, similarly, we have one more methods that are known as your abstract method. So what do you mean by abstract method? Abstract methods are those methods which don't have what? Any implementation details. Okay. So these methods here in these methods, we are not implementing anything. So in my opinion, till now, you haven't faced or you haven't created any abstract method till now. Okay. So let's check it out and find it out. What do you mean by abstract method? So before abstract method, what we are going to do, we will try to find out because there is a keyword that is known as your abstract. Always remember, most all the keywords in your Java programming language are in your lowercase. Okay. So this is known as what your abstract. So what do you mean by abstract? So abstract is a keyword which means not complete or your partial implementation. So this is just a meaning of what your abstract keyword. Okay. But whenever we are using or applying it with your different contexts, like with respect to your method, with respect to your class, so we will find it out. And always remember, okay, because see, you have also already find out that what kind of questions we might ask you in your mid semester examination and what kind of question we might ask you in your end semester examination. So always try to see each and everything very clear, means thoroughly like that. Okay. So what do you mean? So here always remember that abstract methods we cannot implement it on your variable. So I cannot write it down like this, abstract int like this. Okay. So it is invalid in Java. But you can use abstract keyword with respect to your method as well as with respect to your class. Okay. Because you already know that abstract means not complete or partial implementation. So let's check it out and find it out when we are using abstract keyword with method, then what is the meaning of that, right? So let's start. So abstract method are methods with no implementation, right? So till now, whatever the method you are implementing means you are basically working on, you are performing, writing some code in that. But if you are going to make that method as what we call it as your abstract method, then always remember you cannot implement anything. You have to, in that method, you have to perform no implementation. So it means that abstract methods are those methods which is have without a method body. Okay, so they do not contain any method statement, and an abstract method is declared with your abstract keyword, right? So these are the things which you should remember. Okay, so the declaration of abstract method must end with a semicolon. Okay, so this is what the representation of your abstract method. So the child classes. So now the question again that comes into your mind: if we are not implementing, if we are not writing anything in the body of our method, then what is the need of abstract method? Then why we are basically declaring if we are not able to basically write any code, or if we are not performing any, if we cannot perform implementation detail? So who will perform that who will implement those methods? So always remember the child classes. So the child classes which inherit, always remember inheritance is must, okay? So the classes which inherit the abstract class must provide the implementation of these inherit abstract methods. So suppose if I am basically inheriting, okay, that particular class, okay, and that particular class is containing some basically containing some abstract method, then in my child class I will implement that particular method. So I will give you examples. No need to worry, but always try to figure it out, okay? Each and every statement, whatever the statement I'm basically mentioning for this particular abstract method topic. So see, this is basically the syntax of your abstract method. So you already know you can write it down public, okay, abstract. Then suppose this int, this is the name of my method. And it depends like whether your methods are basically taking arguments or not. It depends, okay. It is not compulsory like that. So the way you are basically implementing or declaring your method, it remains same. But what extra thing you are adding over there is this keyword that is known as your abstract method. And always remember this semicolon. This semicolon will tell us about that this method is not containing any what your implementation contains no body. So that is why we are directly writing what over here. We are writing directly semicolon contains no body, right? Now, the question that comes into your mind is that what is the need of your method, abstract method? So let's check it out. Now, now let's take one example. So this is just just an hypothetical example. Okay. Suppose let's assume you have created a COVID-19 class. Okay. Now I want to create a vaccine. I want to create inside this class, I want to create a vaccine which will give me 100% efficacy rate. I want to implement that method. Okay. So I have created that class. Okay. And I have created a method named as your public void vaccine. But till now, I don't know the implementation detail. How should I implement it so that I will get 100% efficacy rate? Okay, I want 100% for all corona variants. Okay, or all your COVID-19 variants. I want 100% what your efficacy rate. So till now, if I'm going to ask you about that, is it possible? Then what you do, you just create a class of COVID-19 and you will just create a method name as what your vaccine. And why I haven't written anything in the implementation detail? Because I don't know. Okay. I don't know the implementation detail. So how should I basically implement this particular method? Because I don't know the formula or anything like that. So that in these such kind of scenarios, we required the need of your abstract method. So here,
Excuse me, sir.
yeah, sorry, yes,
Sir, why not just comment it out?
sorry.
Why not to just comment it out rather than writing abstract and learning abstraction?
Yeah, your question is correct. What she is asking is that why we are not writing over here comments over there, right? So the reason
No,
why,
sir.
yeah,
No, I meant that why are we not just commenting the entire thing out until we can figure it out?
okay. So for that, I have created means I am just going to give you one example. So the reason why we are telling you is that suppose you are working in a team, okay? So suppose you are the team leader. Now, what you are telling your to your team member is that okay. So what you have to do, you have to create a method name as your vaccine method. So at that moment of time, you know that you have to create a so you know the overall means overview about that particular class. You know that you have to create a class. You have to create a method, and that particular method should return me what your void data type. It should not return me anything, and it should be public. So these are the overview of that particular method or particular class you already know, but you don't know the implementation detail. So whenever you are making a class as your abstract class now, so it will be very helpful during implementation. The question which you have asked is, I'm not saying that it is wrong, like you can add comments over there, but whenever you are using or you are creating abstract classes, then what will happen, it will give you a technically it will give you you can say that 100% accurate, that you are 100% sure that okay, that particular class is not implemented properly and you have to implement it that particular class. So I will give you examples. So using those examples, you will understand each and everything. By the way, you can use comments. I'm not saying that comments, but whenever we are working, because you don't want that. Okay, suppose if I'm going to ask you about 100 methods, so I don't want to waste my time in order to write all these comments. Okay, so it's better what I will do. I will try to create so that I will give you a kind of a template I can provide you. Okay, so these are the methods you can create, these are the things you can create, but I don't know the implementation, and you will ask your team members, okay, start implementing these methods. Okay, so this method you have to implement. So if you have to implement that method, so what you do, you have to you have to inherit that particular class like that. Okay, so I will give you examples so that you will have a better understanding. So what you know over, so if for this particular example, don't get confused, let's go through again. So you don't know the implementation detail. So what we do, we generally make this particular class as what your abstract class. So always remember, whenever you are going to make a method as what your inside your class, if you have an abstract method, it is very important, right? Whenever in your class you have a abstract method, then it means that it is compulsory or it is mandatory for you to make that class as your abstract class. If I am going to remove this thing, abstract keyword over there, then I will get an error. Why? Because this class is what? Partially implemented. Why it is partially implemented? Because this class contains an abstract method. An abstract method doesn't contain any implementation part. So that is why what we have done, we have converted it into what this like this. I'm not saying that this thing is wrong, okay? Even though you can do that thing and you can inherit that part, but whenever you are working in a very big projects, okay, so how you are going to find out like which class I should inherit and what are the classes which you haven't means implemented properly. So that is why technically what you do, you just make those classes that you as your what your abstract class. It will tell us in your future. Suppose after 10 days, you just want to find out what are the classes which I haven't implemented till now. So what you do, you just try to find out, okay, what are the abstract classes? And these are the abstract classes you will get. And now you have to just focus it on only these classes, right? So abstract methods are implemented in your child class. So if I want to implement this abstract method, so what I have to do, I have to create a class. Suppose ABC is my class, and in this class extends, I have to inherit this class. What is the name of that my class? For example, COVID-19, and like that. And you will implement that particular method. Now, see, so this is just a question. I think I hope all of you will able to understand that what I'm asking is what I'm basically asking you is that which is basically which one is valid. Okay. So if you are creating, if you are declaring your method, so which option is correct? So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. In the first one, we have used a public abstract void M1 I have created. Second one is public void M1 like this, public abstract void M1 like this, and public void M1 like this. So here you can see over there, if I'm going to ask you about first method is, what kind of method is this? Abstract method, because I'm using abstract keyword. Second one is your concrete method. Okay. Third one is your abstract method, and fourth one is what your concrete method. So according to you, how we can basically define an abstract method? So you already know that for abstract method, you always have what? You always put this semicolon. And for this, your normal method, can we put semicolon? No. For your normal method or your concrete method, you have to write these two your what your curly braces. So if you are going to execute all these statements, so in the first case, you will get a compilation error. That is, your abstract method cannot have a body, right? In the second one, because this is a concrete method, okay, and you have just used directly, you have used semicolon. So again, you will get a compilation error that missing method body or abstract method. Either write it down abstract over there. Our compiler is suggesting us either write make that method as abstract, or either write something inside this body over there. So if you are going to execute all these four statements, so these two are valid statements, right? So this is through this basically example, you will understand that okay, this is how basically you have to declare and you have to make a method as what your abstract method. So this is known as your abstract method, and this one is your concrete method. So till now in your labs, whatever the problem you are solving with the help of what your concrete method. Now you already have an idea about abstract method. Now let's go for it for abstract class. What do you mean by abstract class? So a class which contains the abstract keyword in its declaration. Always remember, it should be in your declaration. Like in the case of your access modifier, where we are using access modifier whenever we are declaring something, right? Similarly here also, whenever we are declaring it over here, then we know it is known as your abstract class. An abstract class is like a guideline or template. Okay, so as I told you, like in your previous example, like it will tell us about, okay, like your team lead will tell you about, okay, you have to create a class, and this class should contain your what some method known as your vaccine method. Now it's up to you, you have to implement that method. Okay, so you just create an abstract method and you just forward that particular class to your colleagues. Okay, so that now they will extend to that particular class, and now they will basically implement that particular whatever the thing they want to implement, that particular method. So that has to be extended by its child class of the implementation. What is the need of abstract class? Sometimes implementation of a class is not complete. Okay, so it is not complete. So what do you do in that scenario? You always use, or you always make that class abstract class. So I will tell you one more thing is that whenever you are making a class as abstract class, you cannot create an object of that particular class. It means that you cannot use the functionality of class. So it is very good now. It means that it will tell us that, okay, right now we haven't released our class yet. So that is why what you do, you make that class as abstract. So once you are 100% sure that, okay, now my class is 100% complete, make it as what your normal class. Okay, so this is what you can do if you want to, if you're basically using the concept of abstract class in your projects. So abstract class may or may not contain abstract method. This is very important. Why this is very important? Because what I told you that abstract classes can contain 0% to 100% of your abstraction. It means that 100% means like your class, abstract class contains the contains methods having only abstract methods. Okay, like this, like in this example, for if I'm going to ask you about what is a like 100% abstraction here we are achieving, right? But it might be possible that your abstract classes may or may not contain abstract method. Then in that scenario, you might get your 0%. Now, again, the question that comes into your mind is, then why we are making it as abstract class? If you are calling it as what if it is not containing a abstract method. So sometimes, not every time, but there might be some scenarios where you are not 100% sure that your class is complete. You don't know what will be your abstract method, but you are confident that, okay, my class is not completed yet. Okay, I don't want that someone should create an object of this class. So what should I do? I will make that class as what? My abstract class. So that if someone will inherit that class or some of your colleague, and they will find out, okay, we can incorporate this method. some more method in that particular class. Now we can say that, okay, now this class will be a normal class or non-abstract class like that. So, but if a class has at least one abstract method, then class must be declared abstract. So this is very important, okay? Like as I have already stated you earlier. So if a class is declared abstract, it cannot be instantiated. It means that you cannot create an object of this class. It means you cannot basically you cannot use the functionality of that particular class. So that is why. So if you are not 100% sure that someone should basically use the functionality of your class, so make that particular class as what your abstract class. Okay, someone should not create an object of your class. So to use an abstract class, you have to inherit. So only with the help of inheritance, we can perform and provide the implementation of your abstract class. So let's take some example, and using these examples, you will understand what I mean to say. So I have basically created several cases, okay, and using cases, you will find out what are the errors we will get and when we will not get any errors. Okay, so this is, I hope that you, through these examples, you will able to understand that, okay, how to basically implement abstract classes or abstract methods in our program. So let's take our case number 1. So in this class, what I have done, in this case, I have created a class named as main. This class contains what? Our two methods. First one is your abstract method. Second one is our main method, and we generally call it as what? Your concrete method. So if I'm going to execute this code, so can anyone tell me what output I will get? Yes, anyone? You can post your answer in the chat box. Let me check so that I will understand. So Harshvardhan posted me a question, sir, can you make abstract method in a concrete class? No, we cannot. Okay. So whenever you have at least one abstract method, so you have to, it is mandatory that you have to make that class as what your abstract class. So Harsh Gupta has posted one answer that the answer is we will get a compilation error. What about others? So yeah, just go through your first program, okay, so that you will have a better understanding. So Harsh Gupta error. What about others? Is there anyone who is getting some different answer? Just let me know. So yeah, so all of you are, only Nandini has posted hello world. So let's check it out whose answer is correct. So as per our definition, okay, even the question which Harshvardhan Aditya has posted, that here in this class we have an abstract method, right? So we have abstract method. So what I have told you in that particular definition is that whenever within a class we have an abstract method, then it is mandatory that that particular class should be what? Your abstract class. But we are not making that particular class as your abstract class. Hence, what will happen? We will get an error. And the error which we will get over there is that main is not abstract and does not override abstract method in your main. So here what you are doing, basically you are creating an object over there and you are basically performing over there. So basically the error which you are getting it over there is that you have to make that particular class as what your abstract class, right? Now in the second case, even though I have shown you the question, this the output, but still you know that why we are getting an error over there. So now in order to solve this issue, what I have done, I have made this class as abstract. See, entire code is same, and now I have made this class as abstract. Now you will say that, okay, this class contains abstract, that is great. So now we have basically solved this problem. Now my class is abstract, that is correct. Now, but still, you can see over there in this line. In this line, what we are doing? We are creating an object of this class. So can we create an object of your abstract class? No, we cannot create an object of abstract class. So that is why if we are going to execute this code, so we will get an error that main is abstract and cannot be instantiated. Okay, always remember. So that is why I'm just showing you these cases. So through these cases, you will have a better understanding about the abstract or abstract method or abstract classes in your Java program, right? So now let's take one example. Again, this is an hypothetical scenario, but through this example, you will understand, okay, like why we required abstract methods. Now, so suppose like you are in your first year, okay? So in your first year, what you have decided, you want to make a new mobile application. So whatever the mobile application you want to make, and with different features you want to incorporate, and you want to make that particular mobile application 100% effective, okay? And you want to add these features, like for example calling, moving, and video calling. So all these features you want to incorporate, and you want to release this mobile application only when you are able to you are basically incorporating all these features. Only at that time you want to basically release this particular mobile application. So in order to sort out this thing, what you do, let's assume I have divided into your phases, like in your first year, second year, third year, and so on, like that. So in your first year, what you have done, you have created a method named as calling method, right? But what you have done, because in your first method, for example, like in your first year, you don't know, you only know that how to, in one of the subject, you know the functionality that, okay, you can perform only calling feature. But for moving feature, this moving you will basically understand from some subject, and that subject is in your second year. And this video calling feature, if you want to incorporate, that is in your third year, okay? Like this. So this is just an hypothetical scenario, okay? So right now in your first year, you know that how to perform calling feature. So that is why what you have done, you have implemented your first feature. But you don't know these two features. So what you do, you just make these two things and you put semicolon over there. But you already know that if we are going to execute this code, so what will happen? We will get an error. Why we will get an error? Because as I shown you earlier, that these are what your concrete methods, and these concrete methods are containing what? Your semicolon. And it is mandatory that whenever you are declaring method as your concrete method, then it should contain some implementation body like this, like this kind of thing. So that is why in order to sort out this issue, what you do, you just make these two methods as what? Your abstract method, right? So whenever you are going to make these methods as what? Your abstract method, then what you have to do, you have to make this class as what? Your abstract class. So now, according to you, this entire project is not completed yet because you have incorporated only one feature, and you will wait for your second year. Now, if I am going to create an object of this class, so you already know that I won't be able to do it. So it means I cannot release my mobile application yet, right? Now in the second year, what happened? You know that how to implement this method, this moving method. So what you do in the second year, how you are going to implement it? So in the second year, what you do, you are going to extend your this class. So as I told you, if you want to implement these methods, right? So you have to inherit this particular class. So in my second year class, because you know that how to implement this moving, but still always remember, I don't know how to implement video calling in my second year, right? So what will happen? You are going to create a class as second year class, and you will try to inherit first year class, and you will implement moving class. But still, always remember, if I am going to ask you about, if I am going to execute this code, then what will happen? Again, you will get an error. Now, the question that comes into your mind, sir, why we will get an error? Because this is an abstract class, this is a normal class, and yeah, sorry. Where we are, yeah. So you will say that, okay, well, we have created this thing, right? we have created this class as normal, and we can create an object of normal class, so no issue at all. But remember, have we implemented this method? No, we haven't implemented this method. So whenever we are inheriting this class, your first year class, so we are also inheriting this abstract method. Now this class is having how many methods? First is my calling method, second is my moving method, and third one is my abstract method. So still this class holds one abstract method. So it means that this class is not fully implemented, because it contains what? Your abstract method. So that is why we will get an error. So in order to sort it out, what should we do? We will make this class as what? Your abstract class. So that is why here you can see over there we have made this class as what? Your abstract class, right? Why? Because this video calling we haven't implemented yet, and it is still there inside my second year class. Because why? Using the concept of inheritance, right? So that is why still we cannot create our object, or we cannot release our product, you might say that. Now, as I told you that this thing we are going to learn in our third year. So what you are going to do in the third year, what I am going to do, I am going to extend my second year, and I am going to implement this video calling method. And now I have implemented all three methods. Now my entire project is complete. Now I can create an object of this particular class, and now I can call all these. So this is an example through which you will understand the need of your abstract method. I'm not saying, but I'm telling you that this is how basically it will give you a very good overview about all those things. Okay. So whenever you are working in a team, like in some company, so it's not like that. So like in your project also, there are many, four or five, your friends are working in that particular project. And suppose you want to basically decide the task. So how you are going to decide it? So first of all, you just create a task, and all of you have to inherit that particular class. Suppose you want to work it on some sequential manner like that. Okay. So this is how, and this is the need of your abstract class. I hope that you will understand the concept of your abstract class using this example. Okay. So let's take, so is there anyone who is having any doubt till now?
Basically, means all the methods that are present in the abstract class, we have to use them in some of the other classes. Then only we can create the object.
Yeah. If you want to, if you want to implement, see, we have to implement all these features. So we have implemented this class. We have basically inherited this particular class, and we have implemented. But still, we haven't implemented this video calling, right? So still, we have to make this class as what? Your abstract class. Okay. Similarly, in the last class, now we have implemented all these classes. So now we can make this class as what? Your normal class, or concrete class, we can call it as, right? So now we can create. So this is how basically we can use the functionality of abstract class. Got the point?
What if we use all the methods in a single class? Then we have to make it abstract.
Sorry, just so let's.
So in the second year, we implement all the methods like moving and video calling. Then then it's not necessary to make it abstract, right?
Yeah. If you are able to implement this video calling method over here in the second year, so it means that now you have implemented all the method. Now your entire methods are you have implemented fully. Okay. So now you can make that particular class as what your concrete.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Right.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, what is the access modifier when we write abstract class?
Sorry?
Sir, what is the access modifier in it? Like abstract class first
No.
year?
Abstract is basically a non-access modifier, right? So instead, so here what that is why here I'm using some these. So these are your access modifier. These are your non-access modifier. These are not going to tell us the scope of that particular thing, right? Like whether we can access this thing inside your class, outside this class, outside this package, inside this package. These things are not going to be covered inside these by using, if you are using non-access modifier. All these things are going to be covered by whom? Our access modifier. Got the point? लाइक कि जो भी आपके रहेंगे एक्सेस मॉडिफायर लाइक पब्लिक प्राइवेट, वो आपको बताएंगे कि वेदर यू कैन एक्सेस आउटसाइड दिस क्लास या आउटसाइड दिस पैकेज। एब्स्ट्रैक्ट ये कीवर्ड आपके एक्सेस के बारे में नहीं बताएंगे, बट दे विल टेल यू अबाउट दी वेदर यू आर गोइंग टू बेसिकली ये आप बोल सकते हो कि एक एडिशनल फंक्शनैलिटी ऐड कर रहे हैं, वेदर योर क्लास इज फुली इंप्लीमेंटेड और नॉट। दे आर जस्ट टेलिंग अस दैट पर्टिकुलर। व्हाट अबाउट
Sir, like in the last class, public class ABC,
यस
we are using third year, right?
या
So, like, how do we then explain the access modifier?
Okay. See, here in this class, what we are doing we have created a separate class, right? We have created a class named as ABC, and inside my public static void main, what I am doing, I am creating an object I am basically creating an object of third year. So right now, let's assume we are working in a same package, right? So in a same package, what this third year is what? Year is my default. Is using which access modifier? Default, because we haven't mentioned anything yet. Okay, so it means that within a package we can access this thing. So that is why we are able to create an object of your third year, and now we can access all these methods too, because all these methods are what your public, and public. That is why we are able to access all these methods. Got the point?
Yes.
Got the point? Yeah. So don't get confused with abstract and your final words. They will just tell you about the functionality. Okay, like final means like whenever we are using final keyword, na, so it is not telling us about that you cannot access this thing outside this class and all. So all these access thing are basically related with your public, private, protected, and default. But final is just telling us, or your abstract is telling us, they are adding more functionality, and they are defining that like final will tell us about, okay, now you cannot modify that particular variable or that particular method, you cannot override that particular method. Similarly, if you are using abstract, so abstract is just telling us about, okay, now this particular class is what your incomplete, it is not completed yet. So it means that I cannot create an object of this thing. So it might contain some your abstract methods. So you have to inherit it, and then you just try to implement those abstract methods. Okay. So let's discuss about the difference between your abstract method and your abstract class. So if a class contain at least one abstract method, okay, compulsory, we have to declare that class as abstract class. So you can also understand that 2 to 3 times I have mentioned this statement, because this statement is very important. Okay, sometimes the students generally get confused. They will say, okay, no, whenever you have a abstract method, then only you can make a class as what your abstract class. But no, even if class does not contain abstract method, still we can declare a class as your abstract class. So it depends upon the programmer. If he is not 100% sure, okay, like that particular class is fully implemented or not, then you can also make that particular class as what your abstract class. But if your class contain abstract method, then it is mandatory or compulsory for you to make that particular class as what your abstract class. So this is just an example. Just tell me what will be the output if I are going to execute this code. So I just explained this code. So in this code, what we have done, we have created an abstract class. Okay. Why we have created abstract class? Because we have abstract these two things, abstract methods. And now what we are doing inside our public static void main, we are creating an object of your main class. We are creating an object of your main class, and I am also inheriting this class. So if I'm going to execute this code, what will happen? Yeah, you can post your answer. Whether we will get some output or whether we will get an error. Yes, just go through this program. Because I want that after this lecture, all of you will have a better understanding about this topic of abstraction. So yeah, so I'm getting all of you I got 2 answers, that is error and error. Okay, yeah, great. So all of you are giving me the correct answer. So you already know that the first answer, see, I'm just telling you 2 errors over here. First error, you already know that over here is what you cannot create an object of this particular class. And the second one, So second one is that, see, what we have done, we have inherited this class. So are we implementing anything? No, we are not implementing anything. So it means it is also inheriting what? Your abstract method. So if it is inheriting your abstract method and you are not basically implementing those abstract method, then either implement those method or make that class as what your abstract class. So here, see, one error, this here also we will get an error, but this error, what error we will get over here is that main2 is not abstract and does not override abstract method engine in your main. Okay, so that is why what will happen, you will get an error. So always remember, whenever you are inheriting now, either you have two options, either make that class as abstract or either implement whatever the abstract method that are there in your parent class, abstract, right? Now in this question, what we have done, we have created a class as your abstract class, right? Like this. Now this thing I have already explained. Oh, sorry. Sorry, this question is different. Now I hope that you already saw the answer output of this program, but still you can see over there. Now I have made these classes what your abstract class, and inside my public static void main I have printed your hello world over there. And what I'm doing, I am basically inheriting this class main2 as what my main, but remember what I have done, I have made this class as what my abstract class. So if I'm going to execute this code, so remember I'm not going to get any error. So what output I will get? I will get hello. Yes, is there anyone who is having any doubts? Please, you can ask directly. Got the point? So why we are not getting any error? Because see, we have made this class as abstract class. If we are going to remove now, then we will get an error, or we will implement that particular. Now tell me about this thing. Can anyone tell me what will be the output of this particular program if I'm going to execute this code? Yes, just take your time. This thing is in comment. Okay, so we are not creating any object over here. Remember. So using this example, these examples, I'm 100% sure that you will able to solve all the problems related to abstract class as well as abstract methods. Okay, so let's check it out. So is there anyone who has posted any answer of this particular code? If we are going to execute this code, what output we will get? Yes, anyone? Till now, no answer I got. Take your time.
So it will give the error.
Okay, so I got one answer, that is error. Yeah, someone, all of you have posted. Is there anyone who is getting some different answer? Right, so we are going to get what? Error. So the reason why we are getting an error over here, see, we are implementing only wheel. Okay, so here if we have written, yeah, we are so we are not implementing engine over there. So either we have to implement it or either we have to make this class as what your abstract class. So see this, what error we will get. Even I just want to show you these errors so that you will have a better understanding. So that if you are going to execute this code, so we will get an error that main2 is not abstract. See, this main2 is not abstract and does not override abstract method engine, right? So you are not overriding this method. So you have to override. Always remember, overriding is must whenever we are performing what you're implementing your abstract method. Right, so last topic, while it is not that much important, but still I just want to give you an overview about that, is that an abstract class can have a constructor but cannot create an object. So sometimes in interview they might ask you about that, can we create an object of abstract class? So you will say that no, we cannot create an object of your abstract class. So sometimes they might ask you about, can we does our abstract class contain constructor? So you will say yes, we can create a constructor of your abstract class. Then the question that comes into your mind is that if we are not able to create an object of abstract class. So how we are able to create an constructor? Then what is an application of that particular constructor? It means we are not able to access it. No, we can access that particular thing. So you already know that there is a keyword known as what we call it as your super keyword. So using super keyword, what we generally do? We generally access our parent class constructor like that. Okay. So similarly, that is the reason. So that is what this is what I am telling you. Okay. So in interview, they might ask you about. Okay. So what is the need of constructor? Because using constructor, we are initializing the value of that particular instance variable of that particular object. But here we cannot create an object of abstract class. So what is the need of that? Then in that scenario, when we are basically whenever we are calling your child class and whenever using with the help of super keyword, what we are able to do, we are able to do that. So I just want to give you one example. So here in this scenario, what I want to initialize the value of ing over there. So what I can do, I can inherit in this class. Okay. So inside this class, I can write it down. I can initialize these values over here. Right. Everything is correct. Now again, I want to create one more class that is known as your child2 class, contains two variables. So again, you can see over there, I am again initializing the value of ing over here in both the classes. But let's assume I don't want that. So here you can see that here you will see a duplicate code. Duplicate code means you are writing these two things again and again. You are initializing these values. Suppose you are initializing some value again, the value for ing will be like 1 and 2. So every time you have to initialize again. If I am creating one more object, I am going to create like that. So in order to sort out this issue, while you can see that these issues are very minor, but it will give you a better understanding whenever you want to write your code more efficiently, then in that scenario you have to consider these minute things. Right. So what I will do, because I don't want to initialize the value of ing, suppose you want to create 100 child of that particular abstract class, then 100 times you have to write these to this ing. And every time you are initializing the value, let's assume 1 and 2 like that. So I don't want this thing. So what I will do for that thing, I will create a constructor inside my abstract class, and here I will initialize the value. Right. Here I will initialize the value and I will directly write it down super keyword. So using super keyword, what I will do, I will access my parent class constructor. So you already know the functionality of super keyword. So if somebody is going to ask you about, okay, can we create a constructor inside your abstract class, then you will say yes, we can create. And if somebody is going to say you about, okay, so that is okay, we can create a constructor, then what is the application? So you can give this example and use it as example, you will be able to, that person will able to understand each other. Right? So this is just a last slide of our today's lecture. Hope you will be able to give me the correct answer of this particular question. Okay, so let's go through this problem, and after this I'm going to end our today's lecture, and tomorrow we are going to start with our what we call it as our interfaces in Java. So abstract class A has 4 virtual function. Abstract B class, see, we have an abstract A, I'm just writing A. We have an abstract class B. It contains 4 methods. It defines, okay, it defines only 2 methods, and like this. And class C, we have one more class C, extends your class B and implements the other 2 member in your class A. Choose the correct option below. Program would not run as all the methods are not defined by B. Program would not run as C is not inheriting A directly. Program would not run as multiple inheritance is used, and program runs correctly. So you have to tell me the correct answer. Just go through this problem and just let me know. So this is the last slide. So I hope that you now you understand the concept of abstract class. So I will upload these slides, and after reviewing those slides, I am 100% sure that you will not face any issue or anything. I got one answer from Nandini Garg as 4. That is your 4th one. Harsh 4, Shreyansh 4, Yeah, so all of you are basically giving me the fourth option. Okay, so let's go for it, and you already know that the answer is correct. Okay, so it means I'm very happy that all of you are able to understand the concept of abstract class and abstract method, and I just want that in your project, just try to incorporate this thing so you will have a better understanding of that. Okay, so that is why whenever you are working in a group now, so you can use this concept of abstract class. You will tell, okay, you have to implement this thing, your whatever the way basically you want to implement that particular method like that. Okay, so this is all about our today's lecture. So thank you all. So yeah, so if anyone is having any question, please feel free to ask.